The first practitioner. With boundless enthusiasm and reverence, Lord Hayagriva narrated the glories of Devi and the form of Lalita Sahasranama. The great sage Agastya was filled with veneration as he was drenched in his own tears. He sought Lord's blessings so he could do intense tapasya and eternally behold the divine form of Devi in his mind's eye. So be it, Hayagriva said, and granted him the privilege to chant the 1,000 names of Devi. Sage Agastya was the first to be initiated in the chanting of Lalita Sahasranama. He knew that without initiation, he was like a seedless fruit, complete but incapable of further evolution. Agastya bowed before his guru, Hayagriva, in deep gratitude and reverence. But Hayagriva warned, the sadhana of Devi is incomplete without Tantra, and Shiva alone can give you that esoteric knowledge. He instructed Agastya to meditate on the 1,000 names of the Supreme Goddess, devoting 1 ayana 6 months to each name, and thus completing his meditation over a period of 500 years. It was only after such profound meditation, he said, that Shiva would impart him the complete sadhana of Devi. Agastya was eager, but he knew that like everything in nature, sadhana is an organic process. It comes to fruition in its own time. It can't be rushed. He took padatuli, dust from the Lord's feet, and sprinkled some on his dreadlocks and rubbed the rest on his forehead. Agastya began meditating on Devi with single-pointed concentration. Every time he realized the true meaning of her name, tears would roll down from his eyes. Sometimes he would laugh hysterically, and sometimes he would go hug wild animals and trees, for he saw Devi alone in everything and everyone. The more he meditated on her divine names, the more he revered her. So I feel like when we're talking about Agastya and his guru and like the seeds sown, they're not going to come to fruition without a guru's blessings. I think there's something that we can say for that.
I was thinking about that point. So he's talking about an initiation, right?
Yeah.
So does really a spiritual initiation is needed for an individual's evolution? So it's as simple as, how life is carried over from one to another, over generations, a father, a mother, the masculine and feminine aspects, right, joined together. There is a progeny, whether it be male or female or otherwise, right? So the same process here happens. In this universe, everything is interconnected. They are not separated. So that thread has to be there, will be there. It is just natural. And if a Buddha is evolving, there is a wisdom that has been passed on. It is not that you give it entirely, but you are initiated. The spark is kindled.
Or it might take so much longer to come across the right conditions for the seed to ripen. But if you have the blessings of a guru, it's going to ripen or have the right conditions much quicker.
That is one way of looking at it. But from my perspective, time, the duration of time is an illusion of the mind. So it's not about time. You basically transcend time and space, this process.
But it's like shining the light of awareness on something. Like a guru, because of their experience or because of their blessings that are already ripe, they can see like where to point in you, where like wherever they touch is going to open the door more fully for you. Like maybe eventually, maybe time or not time, but like one's own awareness may come to the same conclusion because like we all have that seed of Buddha nature, but having like the guru's wisdom and blessings to guide you.
I would like to put it even simpler, like it's just like lighting from a flame. A wick is lit. How the same flame, the same fire, the same light is there in this one. And again, you can link, light it from here. So it's just a spark, and you just need to be in touch with it, and you are
Illuminated.
lit. Yeah, illuminated.
In some initiations, one of my teachers explained it like introducing you to a friend. Like that person already knows that friend and gives you the introduction to them. Like as far as like a Tara initiation or a deity initiation, or in this case the Devi initiation, all these different names, different forms, meeting this friend.
And the Lalita Sahasranamam is a very powerful Sanskrit chant, 1,000 names of the Devi. These 1,000 names, the sahasranamam, right, of Lalita, the Devi. It is like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali when it comes to yoga. It's in very seed form. It's like a formula. Each name has the key to enter the cosmos, the existence, the Devi herself, the entire energy field of the universe.
Seasons came and seasons went. Tiny seeds had grown into giant trees. Sun had traveled Uttarayana and Dakshinayana 500 times. Agastya finished meditating on the 1,000 names of Devi and had entered in deep absorption. "O accomplished one," a dulcet voice spoke, followed by the melodious plucking of a veena. Can you read this?
Show me.
Sorry, it's in English,
Okay.
Sanskrit, but...
O accomplished one, a dulcet voice spoke, followed by the melodious plucking of veena. Swatmananda lavibhuta brahmadhyananda santati is part of the Sahasranama. Once I have memorized by chanting several times the entire Sahasranama. So most part is very beautiful. All parts, sorry.
Agastya murmured, chanting one of the names of Devi, as he opened his sloshed eyes, intoxicated from divine love. O Narada, the bliss one finds from discovering Devi in one's soul is greater than the bliss Brahma can ever have. All other pleasures are like firefly in front of the sun. He then folded his hands and greeted the wandering saint and said, "It is my greatest fortune to have your darshana at the conclusion of my sadhana." "Narayana, Narayana," Narada said, "your sadhana has not concluded, Muni. It has only just started." "O noble sage," Agastya said, "this vessel has gone frail now. I wish to offer it to Devi in a fire offering." Narayana, Narayana, Narada laughed and reminded him of the Lord Hayagriva's instruction. Exactly as Hayagriva had asked him, Agastya approached Shiva and prostrated before him. One look at Shiva's radiant and chiseled face, those still eyes, his matted locks flowing down like Himalayan streams, and Agastya forgot all about his old body. He was awash with vigor and devotion. Fair-colored Parvati came and sat near Shiva. Agastya cried, "Devi, O Devi, bless your Agastya Devi." Torrents of tears rushed from his eyes as he cried like a child and reached out to touch Devi's feet. But she, the supreme goddess, merged into Shiva in that very moment. Agastya was shocked. "Where did I lack in my devotion, Mahadev?" he asked with great anxiety. "Why has Devi disappeared?" "She is beyond appearance and disappearance, O Muni," Shiva spoke in his deep and sonorous voice, like wind blowing through a Himalayan tunnel. You have not yet realized the essence of Devi, but pleased with your devotion and concentration, the time has come that I impart the secrets to you. Shiva propounded the most mystical knowledge of Devi worship in her formed and formless aspects in both the left-handed and right-handed path of Tantra. A few thousand years from now, a tenacious and determined sage on earth will complete Devi sadhana, Shiva said in his mystical style, without any further disclosure. Agastya did intense penance over the next 1,000 years, but only managed to complete the right-handed practices. He went back to Shiva. Unlike you, my body is subject to the laws of nature, Mahadev, he said. I can give up this body and take up a new one, but that will be interfering with the dharma of time. What's the order, my lord? Go and pass on the complete knowledge to Dattatreya on earth, and he will give it to Parasurama and Vashista. Is that right? Vashista. Agastya had a spark of doubt, thinking how could Shiva miscalculate? He had clearly said that the sadhana of Devi will be done in a few thousand years from now, but it had only been 1,000 years, he thought. He knew that all three, Dattatreya, Parasurama, and Vashista, could complete the sadhana. Shiva smiled but said nothing. As instructed, Agastya passed on the esoteric knowledge to Dattatreya and Vashista and dropped his own body in Devi Bhava. Okay. You?
From here?
Top, yeah.
Dattatreya was born from the three aspects of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva to the great sage Atri and his wife Anasuya, who was famed for her Pativrata dharma. Dattatreya imparted the sadhana to Parashara, but as soon as the complete knowledge was granted, great vairagya sprouted in his mind and he did not marry. So, Dattatreya is a combo of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Dattatreya was born to the great sage Atri and his wife Anasuya. So Anasuya was reputed for her Pativrata dharma. Pativrata means one who is devoted to her husband, like a monogamy, like just one spouse, right? Dattatreya imparted the sadhana to Parashurama. So Dattatreya taught the practice to Parashurama. But as soon as the complete knowledge was granted, great vairagya sprouted in his mind and he did not marry. So Parashurama, vairagya means detachment. A lot of detachment came to him through the practice and he did not get married. It is Parashurama who brought out the Kerala from the ocean. There's a story like that. Parashurama remained devoted to his guru and never took up a female consort. The sadhana could not be completed without the tantric worship with a consort. Dattatreya knew that Parashurama was not just any rishi but an incarnation of the divine himself. He relieved him of the burden of completing Devi sadhana. So Parashurama is considered to be one of the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. Malsyam Kurmam Varaham Narasimham Vamana Malsyak Kurma Varahascha Narasimhascha Vamana Ramo Ramascha Krishna Kalki Janardana. These are the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. So Malsya is a fish. He took the form of a fish to rescue the earth, Then Kurmam is again another, it's a turtle. Tortoise. Varaham is a pig. Narasimha is half man and half lion. Each incarnation has a particular purpose. So it is through the fish, the story of Vyasa, who divided the Vedas into 4, all those connected. So Malsyam, Kurmam, Varahascha, Narasimha, half man, half lion. Vamana is like a Brahmin, like a human being. Ramo Ramascha Ramascha. 3 Ramas. Out of them, one of them is Parashurama. Parashurama was a Kshatriya, he was a warrior. Then Sri Rama, Lord Rama, Sri Rama, and then Balarama, who is brother of Lord Krishna. Then Krishna, and finally the 10th one is Kalki. These are the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu. So these 10 incarnations that is mentioned in the Puranas, in Hindu mythology, it is related to the Darwin's evolution theory, like the life originated in water and how it transformed into amphibian and then to the monkey, the human, and then even in the humans, they were more tribal and then they became more civilized. So that process you can see in this gradation of the 10 incarnations. Parashurama remained devoted to his guru and never took up a female consort. I think we went over that. Next paragraph. Parashurama was a Vishnu incarnate on earth who had vowed to rid the planet from tyrant Kshatriyas. So those days also there were the militants called
evil hordes roaming and causing trouble. And
other than the occult signs of weapons which he would give to the Drona, Bhishma and Karna a few thousand years later, Parashurama never imparted the esoteric vidya of Devi to anyone. Vasishtha was the only hope now. It was no secret that Shiva never repeated himself or imparted any vidya twice. Dattatreya was not going to give it to any other disciple of Vasishtha or any other disciple, and if Vasishtha did not do anything with it, the world would forever be deprived of the grace of Devi. The great sage Vasishtha was known to be as old as the sun in Earth's solar system. He had seen the rise and fall of kings. He had seen the transition of yugas. Yugas are like eons. He had been to the 3 worlds and 14 planes of existence. The different dimensions, right, of the 14 planes. Adala, Vidala, Sutala, Patala, all those different worlds, the lower worlds and the Bhurubhuva, Swaha, Tapaha, like that. You have the higher worlds also.
Is it like hell realms, god realms, naga realms, all these type of...
Yeah. Okay. He had seen the transformation of Vishwamitra into a Brahma Rishi. So Vishwamitra became like a Brahma Rishi. Brahma means, the knowledge of the Brahma. The literal meaning of the word is Brahmand, of the entire existence. Rishi is the seer. So in and out of the existential realities, truth. He was not the eager or the impulsive type. The wise Vasishtha saw with his divine eye that the right time had not yet come on earth for anyone, including himself, to practice the sadhana of Devi as passed down by Shiva. He also saw how potent it was and that it could be catastrophic in the wrong hands. Even his own son, a sage and a siddha, Shakti Muni, and not fit to do Devi sadhana, he realized. He clasped the secret of sadhana close to his heart and first disclosed it to his grandson Parashara, the one with no desires. A great realization about the futility of the material world dawned on the soft-spoken Parashara as soon as Vasishtha finished expounding the sadhana, the practice, to him. Empowered with the transcendental knowledge, Parashara felt increasingly disconnected from the world. Unlike his father or grandfather or sages of the yore, neither did he marry, nor did he keep a consort. Meditating on various aspects of Devi, he spent most of his time in the Himalayas. The worship of the Supreme Goddess, however, could not be completed without a consort, right? Immersed in Devi's bhava, Parashara did not feel attracted to any woman. Even though he well knew that he had to pass on the esoteric knowledge, he spent most of his life in meditation without worrying about a successor or a worthy recipient. A few decades passed, and Parashara realized that the issue of a successor could not be postponed any further. With that thought in mind, he descended from the Himalayas. One day he had to go across Yamuna. Yamuna is a river, and the boatman was about to have his meal. He therefore asked his daughter Matsya Gandhi to take the rishi to the other side of the river. This Matsya Gandhi, she has always the smell of fish. While she was ferrying him across, Parashara looked up and closed his eyes. With his divine vision, he saw that after more than 4,000 years, the stars and planets had aligned themselves most perfectly, not just in Akasha Ganga, our galaxy, but across many universes. This was the time to spill the seed into a womb, to give the world someone who would bring the Vidya of Kundalini to life. His eyelids lifted gently and he looked at the barely 16 Matsyaganti with a sense of desire. There she was in her lissom body rowing the boat. She was coming of age and her dark skin shone like an ebony tree. It did not matter to the old rishi that she smelled like fish. She always did. She was called Matsyaganti, the one who smells like fish. Parashara extended his gnarled hand over her young one. Sunrise and sunset never meet, but the rays are golden anyway. Unaware and a little startled, Matsyaganti looked at the rishi's hand first and then cast her glance in his eyes. This was Parashara. His hypnotic pull was stronger than the earth's gravity. She surrendered and submitted right there. Yet she was a bit hesitant, for not only she was ovulating, virgin and it was broad daylight too. Reading her thoughts, Parashara whispered a mantra and blew in the air. On a nearby island, a leaf fell from the tree, but before it could reach the ground, clouds appeared out of nowhere and hid the sun. A thick veil of mist arose all around, and the shore was no longer visible. It was here that the great Rishi fathered none other than the legendary Vyasa. This is the story I was mentioning. So Vyasa is the one who divided the Vedas into four. That's why he is known as Vyasa. You will Vaishambhayana Vyasa. You will no longer smell like a fisherwoman, but a fragrant lotus. He blessed her as he departed. You will remain Akshata Yoni, virgin, and your son will be the greatest poet ever to be born in this world. The boat was midway, but the rishi walked on water to get to the other shore. Destiny has fulfilled its plan, and Parashara and Matsyaganti would never meet again. A few years later, he established contact with Vyasa to bring to his notice the grand purpose of his life. Now the initiation of Vyasa. You want to go on?
Okay. The young Vyasa, barely 7 summers old, sat in rapt attention when the aging Parashara told him the story of Daksha's yagna, manifestation of the supreme goddess, penance of Agastya, and his passing on the Vidya at the instruction of Shiva. Parashara looked around furtively and carefully, and in an occult mudra drew a veil of mist, just how he had done when he'd sired Vyasa on Matsya Gandhi. The birds stopped tweeting and flew to far-off places. Deer ran away. Cicadas stopped stridulating. And the temperature dropped by several degrees so that most small creatures would also vanish. No one else must hear of this, Parashara said, and he whispered the Vidya in its entirety, including the Kundalini aspect of Devi, to the young and bright Vyasa. Yeah. You must complete the sadhana of Devi, he added. With her grace, you'll document the most esoteric wisdom for the benefit of the mankind on this planet. She is called Bhagavadini, the power of speech. She'll speak through you. You must create a 4th Veda and include her worship in it. Invoke her with concentration, devotion, discipline, and patience, and all will become possible. Vyasa did Dandavata Prananama. Vandata Prananama.
Dandvata Pranama. The full length prostration. He's just prostrating the whole body.
To his father and vowed to do complete Devi sadhana. The only goal of my life, Father, he said, is to honor your word. The world will eternally sing your glories, my son, Parashara declared proudly. You will be known as Veda Vyasa. All glories to you, my father, Vyasa shouted in ecstasy. All glories to Devi. Parashara touched his son's forehead and said, you are the first on this planet to be initiated into the sadhana of Kundalini. Veda Vyasa meditated on the form aspect of Mother Divine for 12 years and spent the next 12 invoking her as his own latent energy in the form of Kundalini. As she rose in him, untying the knots and piercing the chakras, Vyasa was filled with light and knowledge. With immense Shakti in him, unrestrained and divine, he sat down and composed the greatest epics known to human race. Creating a fourth Veda called Atharva Veda, he elucidated Tantra and included Devi worship in its secret passages. Still brimming with wisdom and energy, he composed Brahmanda Purana. Brahmanda Purana, which contains the first documental evidence of Lalita Sahasranama. Devi was still working in him, and there was nothing that could stop the legendary Vyasa. One after another, he scribed 18 Puranas covering every aspect of knowledge, from sublime to mundane, from astrology to tending cows, but Devi was not done yet. Eventually, he went on to narrate the greatest scripture of all time, Mahabharata.
Mahabharata.
The poetic fountain of his super knowledge was bursting forth so rapidly that no one, not even Vyasa himself, could match the speed. Anyone who chose to write would soon feel tired. So he called upon Shiva's son, Ganesha, to scribe Mahabharata. Like the thousands of waterfalls cascading down in the Himalayas during the rainy days, countless streams of creativity and wisdom bubbled over in Vyasa's superconsciousness. This was not surprising, though, for Devi flows in the form of wisdom and grace from a sadhaka. The unstoppable Vyasa went on to record Bhagavata Purana, the same story, Amar Katha, that Shiva had narrated to Parvati once. Devi appeared before Vyasa and said, your work is complete now, my son. Only you could write this Purana. Go rest in my abode eternally. Thus, the supreme goddess merged in Vyasa, and Vyasa was never found again. In Kundalini sadhana, Vyasa was the first true sadhaka on planet Earth, and it is our greatest fortune that we have access to Lalita Sahasranama, where complete sadhana of chakras is strewn like pearls around Devi's neck. Somewhere, I hope you do realize that by calling upon Devi and invoking the primordial principle, you too may uncover the same talent as of Vyasa. You too may tap into the same ocean of creativity as he did, and somewhere you too may join the same rank as Vyasa did. Remember that all these sages existed like you and I exist now. And then there's some Sanskrit here. Start with Go.
Goswami Tulasidas writes beautifully in Ramacharita Jani Acharaju Karu Mana Mahi Sutta Tapate Duralabha Kachunahi Tapabalate Jagasrajai Bidhata Tapabala Vishnu Bhaye Paritrata Tapabala Shambhukarahi Sanjara Tapate Agama Nahi Kachu Sansara. It is not Sanskrit, it's a different language. It is pretty close to Hindi. So Goswami Tulasidas is a saintly person who lived in the northern part of India. So the words mean, don't be surprised, dear. Nothing is impossible with tapas. It is with tapas alone that Brahma creates, Vishnu protects, and Shiva destroys. With penance, nothing in the three worlds is unattainable. So tapas is basically penance. One pointed attention,
And
focus.
discipline with enthusiastic effort and determination.
Right. It may seem like a tall order, but at the awakening of the Kundalini, when you realize who you really are, you will also realize that you are the tallest out there, that there is nothing short or tall as such. If you are willing to walk the path, you will cut through the obstacles like water cuts through stones. Your hurdles will vanish like dewdrops upon sunrise. This is Devi.